So good evening everybody, it's from Jay Shri. I'm going to take this supervised machine learning under the types of machine learning. Okay. So let us see what is the supervised machine learning in detail. Okay. This is what the supervised machine learning. Supervised learning is the types of machine learning in which the machines are trained using well-labeled trained data, and on basics of that data, machines predict the output. Okay, I will repeat this. Supervised learning is the types of machine learning in which machine learning are trained using well-labeled trained data. On basics of that data, machines predict the output. In supervised learning, the training data provided to the machines work as a supervisor that teaches the machine to predict the output correctly. It applies the same concept as the students learn in the supervision of the teacher. Okay, so let us see what are the steps involved in supervised learning. Determine the type of training data set, collect or gather the labeled training data set, and split the training data set into training data set and test data set. Determine the suitable algorithm for the model. Execute the algorithm on the training data set. Evaluate the accuracy of the model by providing the test set. Okay, this is what the steps involved in supervised learning. Okay, so with the steps we can see one, graphical representation of the steps involved in supervised learning. So instead of going by the theoretical part, we can see the graphical representation of these same steps involved in the supervised learning. So let us see in detail. So how the supervised learning works. Okay, this is what the labeled data, right? Hexagonal, square, triangle, rectangle. Okay, this is named as labels. Okay, all together are labeled as labeled data, and these labels are hexagonal, square, triangle. Okay, this model training is given to this model training. This data is given to this model training data set. Okay, after this is going to this prediction where the test data is given. Okay, the square or rectangle or triangle. Okay, based on the prediction of test data, the input receives this prediction. When both is matches, that is input data matches with the test data, the output will come. That is what this prediction, that is square and triangle. Okay, so if there are many number of inputs, we need to test the data with only two inputs, the two outputs will come. Okay, this is what the test data. With the multiple inputs, we can get the two outputs with the two test data. Okay, when we see with the single input. Okay, for example, if we take the raw data, right? If the raw data is tomato, let us take the tomato as the example of the raw data. Supervised training data set, desired output, algorithm processing. Okay, and model training. Okay, and input. So the raw data is nothing but the tomato, and the training data set and desired output, that is what supervisor. And if the raw data is input is given to this algorithm, and after that algorithm it is processing, and this input is given as a tomato, right? This is what model trained, and when this matches with the input data, it produces the output, it is tomato, which is indicated by this particular name. Okay, this is what the supervised learning in machine learning progress. Okay, so this is what types of supervised learning algorithms. Regression analysis, classification algorithm. Regression analysis is the statistical method to model the relationship between the dependent and independent predictive variables with one or more independent variables. Okay, the classification algorithm is a supervised techniques that is used to identify the category of new observations on the basics of training data. Okay. So types of supervised learning algorithms, regression analysis and classification algorithm. Regression analysis is a statistical method to model the relationship between the dependent and independent variables with one or more independent variables. Classification algorithm is a supervised learning technique that is used to identify the category of new observation on the basics of training data. So thank you all. Let us see the next.